right, and we're back to another episode of A Businessman's Guide to Almost Everything, the show where I, your host, Kole Berzenji, get to sit down with a myriad of people from a variety of different fields. We get to pick apart what they do, what makes them tick, and some of the challenges that they face. Today, I have Cody. Cody, where do you work? What do you do, and where are you from?
Cole, thank you so much for having me back. My name is Cody Call. I am the Executive Director of Growing Veterans, and I'm a veteran myself. I spent 12 years in the Airforce as a pararescueman, and now I'm up here in Whatcom County.
12 years in the Air Force, you said?
Yes, sir.
So, real life Tom Cruise Top Gun over here, is that right?
Nope. I mainly was just, trying to find people, doing some search and rescue stuff.
Gotcha. Equally important. So, let's talk about your story, because I want to pick apart how you got into this position as the Executive Director of Growing Veterans, because we talked a little bit already, and I met you previously, and it seems like you've had a bit of an unorthodox career. Is that fair to say?
Correct, yes.
So tell us, how did you get to Growing Veterans? What's your story?
So I have three brothers. We were all in the military, and I thought that I would do a career out of it. But then after 12 years and COVID hitting, I needed to choose between my career and my family. So I chose my family, got out, and then ended up becoming divorced about 3 years later. And so as I transitioned out of the military, like I said before, it's just very isolating. And I moved from Aviano, Italy to Bellingham. And so coming here during the pandemic, just being alone, then going through a divorce. So then the pandemic's happening, going through a divorce, you're isolated, you're alone. So then just trying to figure out community. And so I searched for that for years. I joined the fire department, still searching for that community that I had lost when I left the military. And dealing with my own mental health issues, my PTSD, I decided to resign from the fire department. And I still was lost and alone, and I didn't have a purpose. So I didn't know what to do, so I thought that I would continue my education. So still working on my own self-healing journey, I continued with my education. And as I was going through that, still just alone and isolated. Still doing all the things that I think that I should be doing, continuing my education, trying to be a good father to my kids, but still in the back, isolated and alone. It's like a common theme that just stayed with me for 4 years until I stumbled upon Growing Veterans. And so then once I found that community and connection that I'd been missing in my life, I was able to thrive. I was like surviving for 5 years after I got out of the military, And then once I was able to find Growing Veterans, that's when I was able to thrive, like really grow as a human, trying to find out, what do I really like to do? And it's be around other people, and it's to serve and help.
So what was it about Growing Veterans that proved valuable to you that you weren't finding in other social groups?
It was just the coming together for the common good. So on the website, there's like a 3-minute video that's on there, and that was the hook that got me. I watched the video. I'm not someone who cries very often, which is very good for you. It's a good release. I'm still working on that within myself. But I was sitting alone at a friend's house in Seattle, stumbled upon the website. I watched this 2-minute video, and I was like in tears because I was like, this is what I want. This is what I need. They're building community. They're getting you out of your house, and you're doing it for Whatcom County and Island County. We're all coming together for this greater purpose to feed the county. And so when you have that shared purpose and that shared mission, it kind of gives you that camaraderie that you miss when you're in the military. And then you are there with other veterans, and they're able to open up and share about the trauma that they had, the divorces they went through, and you're together, and you can be like, you're going to be okay. I've already gone through this. You're going to be okay. So hearing those words really, really help you.
And there must be value in the notion that if someone's joining the military, chances are that they're not doing it out of some sense of self-aggrandizement. They're not doing it out of some motivation to see themselves puffed up. They're doing it out of a service for those that they love, for those in their community. And to then find growing veterans whose whole mission, in addition to, of course, supporting veterans, is also to provide food and support for people in their community. There must be a wonderful harmony in those similar missions.
It's very beautiful because you're continuing that mission of service. You're continuing to serve, and you're doing something collectively that's for the greater good. It's outside of yourself. And I think that that's what really helps a lot of veterans that are stuck in that isolation, that then leads to the substance abuse, that then leads to depression, and then ultimately can lead to suicide. And so if we're coming and fighting that on the front end, then we're able to give you that purpose back. You are valuable. We can't do this without you. When you hear those type of things, it gives you that purpose and that self-worth that helps you continue on to live and thrive.
Absolutely. So with your journey, there's a few things that I know are typical, unfortunately, for people who are leaving service. And it's things like divorce. It is unfortunately common. But then we also see things that are less common, like you decided to go dive into higher education. And in our last episode, you talked about how you had recently, relatively speaking, finished your master's degree. Why was higher education something that stood out to you as something that you had to do?
For me, I wanted to heal myself. I wanted to figure out what's wrong with me, what keeps happening, why am I holding myself back? And so the higher education for me, I had my bachelor's degree in psychology. And so I just started searching online for more integrative health or like ways for self-improvement. And honestly, once I resigned from the fire department, also I needed to find a way to make money. And so like as you're in education, you have the GI Bill, so you have these resources for you. And so not only am I making myself more employable, but I'm giving myself time. So I can try to figure out like, okay, like I've got my head above water, I'm going to school, I'm going to have the master's degree, and then that's going to help me become employed. It gives you some breathing room. So the master's degree, can you tell us one more time, what was your degree? So I have a master's degree in integrative health studies from California Institute of Integral Studies.
So when you got that degree, was your mindset that I am going to enter into a veteran-focused non-for-profit?
No, it was not. So when you come out of the California Institute of Integral Studies with that master's program, you also can take a board test, and then you become a board certified health and wellness coach, which then is employable to work for the VA. You can work for any integrative health systems, or with that master's degree, you can then be the director of integrative health clinic.
Gotcha. And so you found your way into growing veterans. So it seems like we have two pretty substantial parts of you that have informed your ability to service this role as executive director, one of which is your education, one of which is your veteran history. Can you walk us through how each of those inform your abilities, your skills, the way that you look at the work before you? How have those informed you as a director?
For me, for this work, the struggles and trials that I've gone through, they've directly correlated to the way that I'm able to help other people. So, as you've heard it many times, I'm sure it's like the wounded healer. So someone who has gone through it, you can sit in that space with that person, not only intellectually, but also because you have lived that experience. Now, albeit it's not all going to be the same, but very similar experience, be it with the divorce. If you've struggled with substance abuse at all in the past, if you have a criminal history, you can sit there and you can talk with someone and you can say, hey, I have been in the same position and you can get through it.
Mm. No, that's a great way to view it. Do you think that difficult retransition then, if you had an easier transition, you would not be able to do your job as well as you do now?
I don't think I could, because if I would have had this smooth transition, I got out of the military, the family life is fine, work is fine, I never would have thought to access these resources. And so when I healed from healing, as I'm going through my healing journey, because I've never healed, as I'm going through that healing journey and I'm learning more about myself and healing myself, I'm then able to look back and see where can I help others. So the healing that I received, I then want to pay it forward. And I never would have been in this position if I would have had a smooth transition. So by going through those trials and tribulations, that's really given me the vision to want to help others and continue my life of service.
Perhaps it's crude and inappropriate to frame the question as such, but if you had to estimate how many people are leaving active service and having a good transition back into regular life?
I mean, it does happen, it does happen. So it has, it's the unicorn for transitioning. You do hear stories of people who do a skills bridge, which is a program where you can intern and then they get a job and then everything is great. Life is good, but they are few and far between.
It's unfortunate, but
Yes.
that sounds about right.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the peer support training, because that seems to be one of the really important aspects of what Growing Veterans does.
Yes.
So can you tell us a little bit about how is that started and who's running that?
Okay, so right now, it started from an intern, actually. So they had the idea of trying to formalize what we're doing. So they would see peer support happening, but they couldn't really put their finger on what it was. They're like, okay, people are coming, they're feeling seen, they're feeling heard. Like, how can we make this into a training so that we can actually start to share the wealth? We can get this out into the communities, get more people that know how to support each other. Not just veterans, but community members. Just how can we support each other better? And so right now we have a Navy pilot veteran. He did 26 years in the Navy. He is a Gallup Strengths Coach certified, and then he has his own consulting firm. And so luckily for us, because he's a veteran, he was able to partner with us, and he facilitates the peer support training. Amazing facilitator, and not only does he do this for us as a nonprofit, but then he also is doing this on the corporate side. And so he helps with leadership training, and he's just a very, very skilled facilitator.
So like typically if he was to offer this for like a for-profit service, do you know ballpark what he usually charges for this kind of training?
I mean, for a weekend course, I think it'd be $10,000 to $15,000.
Wow.
Yeah.
And you guys are with him as a partner,
Yes.
offering this for free for people who want to help veterans.
Yes. And so this training is absolutely free, and we're going to keep doing it free as long as financially we're able to.
So what's this fellow's name again?
It is Kevin Minahan.
All right. Sounds like a pretty swell fellow, that one.
Yes.
Okay. So what does this training look like? Like, is it just people sitting down in a circle and they're like, hey, when they're talking to you, make sure you don't interrupt them?
No, I wish it was that simple, but a lot of it is shared stories. So what we do is we come together, and then you give the general principles of just what different people experience through the military. So then we'll have speakers come in that have experienced military sexual trauma. We'll have them come and speak. What was that experience like? What did you not get? So then when you can see when people have gone through a very traumatic event and they didn't receive the proper care, they know what they're missing, and they can come and they can share with you. And these people are in a stable place, and they're able to say, hey, I'm going through my healing journey, but at the beginning, as a peer, this is what I needed. So you get these stories coming in from all different aspects of the military. And then as we're going through the training and we're kind of learning, like, what are things that we should say? So something that's really good that we'll tell people is tell me more. So when someone is telling you something, you ask them to tell you more, and then you're able to get them to dive deeper into it, and then having simple reflections. So as someone is sharing with you, you can reflect back or mirror back what they said, and then you can just say a simple thing like, I just want to make sure I'm understanding what you're saying, and then you mirror it back. And if you didn't hear exactly what they're trying to share, they can tell you.
Yeah, I remember that was something that I went through in my own training way back when, and they refer to it as recasting. Mm-hmm. And it's because oftentimes when you're dealing with someone, and this is something that they refer to in marketing even sometimes, I remember, where sometimes you need to help the client know what it is that the client actually wants, because sometimes the client's not sure. And so sometimes recasting it and having someone else say an idea helps you understand that idea in a fundamentally different way. And sometimes that's all you need, just to have that sounding board come back to you with, hey, is this your situation? Is this really your struggle? Is this really what you're facing right now? Or is there something else going on? Mm-hmm. That could be of immense value.
And then also it's just when you do that simple reflection and you get it right and you say back exactly what they're feeling or what they're going through, they are seen. And then they really feel like they are valued because you're taking time out of your day to listen. So just trying to create and cultivate those skills so that that can be pushed out, and then we can have a ripple effect. So as you are using these skills and trainings, you're able to then impact your family. And then maybe your kids are going to hear something, they're going to use that with their friends. And then, your spouse is going to use that in the workplace. And so we're able to just expand this training.
Oh, absolutely. And it's a silly example, but I'll throw my wife under the bus. Not under the bus, but she's made mention of it, about how like these weird little linguistic tricks or these little idiosyncrasies, the way that you think and how that's shown in your speech, that is almost infectious in a way. And we see this with like parents and kids all the time, both in good and bad ways. But if you have someone who's a really attentive listener, you learn those tells of how they're telling you that they're listening. And then oftentimes you start to reproduce that yourself. Mm-hmm. You see that with kids, if they have belligerent parents who won't ever let the child finish an idea. Well, guess how that child is going to communicate with their peers? They're never going to let them finish their own thoughts. The amount of value then for someone who has lived a life of service in the military to be in a position where the world has slowed down enough that someone's giving you their full and undivided attention because they sincerely want to know. Mm-hmm. That must be something that just was not available frequently when they were on the field.
Yes. I mean, it's never available. And then if you are open and honest with what is actually going on or what you need help with, you're going to be in trouble. So it's like the stigma that we're trying to change. And that's what we're doing with our Whidbey location that's at the Green Bank Farm. We're trying to get some of the active duty guys to start volunteering out at the farm. That way we can start putting some of these safeguards and these wellness practices in place so that they don't hit the rock bottom and then we have to pull them up from there.
Mm-hmm. You give them the tools that they need to have a more gradual landing.
Yes. Yeah, to just know that, it's not going to be easy to transition out of the military. And anyone who says it's going to be easy is lying to you. But, yeah, sorry.
Oh, sorry. No, carry on.
No, and I was just going to say that, but we'll be there to walk with you, and we'll be able to pick you up when you stumble.
So, at the risk of, I'm sure some listeners will listen to this and they'll have their opinions right away, but like throwing an idea out to you, is the answer to this hard re-entry into regular society to just have more emotionally intelligent soldiers, to have the Army say, hey, you need people to express their feelings more often? Is that the answer to this?
I don't know what the answer is. It's a very complex question because how can you have an emotionally available, open soldier do something that is going against the laws and rules that they grew up in for their entire life?
Yeah. It's one of those things where you can't have your cake and eat it too, I suppose.
No. So what is the right answer is, I think there are people that are going to need more in-depth, immediate help while they're in service, and offering a way to where we're doing a compromise to where everything is not touchy-feely, but there is somewhere that you can go and talk with someone, and then they can evaluate whether you are a safety risk or you're able to go back to duty. Not that if you talk to someone, you're a safety risk and you're off duty.
Gotcha. So let's come back a little bit to the farm and your role within the farm. So as the executive director, I'm sure that comes with its own unique challenges, with the unique tasks that you alone have to do. So what are some of those most difficult tasks that you find yourself facing?
For me, it's managing the budget, making sure that I can pay all the staff members and then conveying the financial position to the board. And, as I said in the last episode, when I started, we had 3.5 months of funding. And I have an amazing team right now at the farm, and we've been able to fundraise and do outreach, and we're able to see that number increase to where we're paying our staff and we're growing the amount of funds that we have so we can continue doing what we're doing. But yeah, just making sure that I can manage the budget, stewardship. So every single dollar that comes in, I want to make sure that that person knows the impact that they have. So a lot of my time is trying to make sure that I am a good steward of a good, sorry. Okay. So another thing that I have to do is stewardship. So every time we get a new donor, or we have a reoccurring donor or a one-time donor, we want to let them know the value of their impact and how that funding directly correlates to helping veterans and feed our community.
Mm-hmm. So when it comes to finding supporters, how does that look like? How do you go out and canvass or solicit supporters?
What we're trying to do right now is we're trying to do a little bit of rebranding. So we can't help people if they don't know we're there. So we're going to all the different events, the Berry Dairy Days. We're going to the Bells Games, the Skagit Speedway, any event that we can get into and set a table up. We're setting a table up and just letting people know what we're offering. And at this point, we're not soliciting anything, because we just want people to know that we're there. And then we know that the more people we get out to the farm, the more groups that come out there and volunteer and see the impact that we have, that's what's going to generate the funding.
Mm-hmm. No, it's a great way to word it, or to frame it, because it really is about. But what was the line from that one movie about the baseball game in the field? If you build it, they will come.
Yes.
No, and this is one of those things where people that, and you're a testament to this fact, the moment they realize that this is something that's available to them and at no cost, they'll come. They just need to know.
That's the thing. It's like we just have to get more people to know that it's there. And this is not a veterans club. This is for everyone to come out there and heal together as a community, because we don't want veterans just be stuck there together and then they get stuck in a veteran echo chamber. We want civilians and veterans together to build community that then spreads out to the larger community.
So let's look at the not-for-profit angle even more generally now. So would you say that your education, your master's degree, is critical for someone to function effectively in an executive director role?
I think that having, at least a bachelor's degree, some sort of education into just doing technology, So as I went through my master's degree, I was forced to, create presentations, do all these different things, working with technology, go through Zoom. So having that tech literacy, I think, has been vital to my success. So it doesn't necessarily have to be a formal education, but you just need to know, are you well-versed in budgeting? Do you know how to manage a team? Have you been a team leader before? Have you interacted with large groups of people, public speaking, all these sorts of things? They're integral to stepping into that role. But then also you have to humanize yourself. So as a good leader, you need to have good weigh-in from your employees or your peers. That way they get buy-in. When people feel like they are seen and heard, then they're able to contribute more to the organization.
I want to talk a little bit about that actually specifically. I'm glad you were bringing that up at the end, but communication. And I know, especially for not-for-profits, it is so critical for those in leadership to be able to effectively convey messages, whether that is to supporters to say thank you, whether that is for some soliciting support from other potential supporters, or whether it's just going to the people that they're serving and letting them know what is available to them. How do you refine your communication abilities?
Practice, trial and error, I think. I think the more we're out there and just trying to do the communication skills, I think that they will come. And so for me, public speaking has never been easy for me, but I love this organization and the way that it transformed my life. I'm willing to do anything, scary as it may be, to get in front of 100 people and say the things, but I will do it for growing veterans.
That's a good sign that you're where you ought to be, where it's challenging, it's hard, it's maybe even sometimes not natural, but the work itself compels you to do it in spite of all of that.
Yes.
So how do you measure your own success as a director? Because there's a lot of moving parts to growing veterans, I'm sure. How do you look at your work and see that's a milestone? I am partly responsible for that.
When I see Logan and Roderick and Thomas, and then all the people that are coming to the coffee check-in, when I see someone struggling and then I see them succeed from the support they're getting from the group. So when I get to see that person that comes in that is really struggling with substance abuse and isolation, and then 3 months later, I get to see them and they are thriving, that is the way that I measure my own success. And how are Logan and Roderick doing? Like when I get to see them interacting and I see them in a place where we've built a culture where we build each other up and don't tear each other down, that's also how I measure success for growing veterans.
It does seem to be something that's like, even when I came and visited the farm a few weeks back, it seems to be a very tight knit, not just like community of the veterans and all that, but within the leadership team itself. Mm-hmm. From the outside, at least, looks like you guys sincerely like working together.
We love it. It's the best place to work ever. It's the most meaningful work I've ever done. And then to truly be there for your coworkers is amazing. You know, like if someone comes in and they had a rough day, we can just take a pause and we can all sit together and we can process that together and be like, all right, how can we help you? And not just saying that to get on to the next task, but really truly meaning that is amazing.
So, and perhaps we don't even have a fixed idea of what this is just yet, but if you were to look at growing veterans in 5 years or 10 years, what do you want to see change? What do you want to see grow?
What I want to see grow is I want to, in 3 to 5 years, my goal is to find a piece of property that we're able to purchase, and then we can expand to perhaps having a few tiny homes on the property. And so we can kind of be helping veterans find a place to live, you know, and then trying to help them just affect housing also. So like right now we're touching on mental health, we're working on food scarcity. So like another thing that I would love to work on is housing, having a safe place to live, to build a dignity.
That would be like obviously a huge service. That would be a monumental challenge for you to surmount.
Yes.
Have you guys put like any abstract planning into that yet? Or
yeah, so we have been thinking and looking into it, and there is a nonprofit that's called In Our Hands, and they're actually building concrete dome homes. Yes. And so the R value is insane. They're fireproof, they're hurricane proof, and you can build an 800 square foot dome home in approximately 2 weeks. And the cost is between $4,000 and $7,000. Wow. 800 square feet. You can heat the entire place with one light bulb. Yes. So finding affordable, sustainable options like that and trying to figure out, okay, how in the next 3 to 5 years can we partner with them to build 3 dome homes? Like financially, it's not a huge burden, but then you have 3 safe houses for people to live in.
That would be huge.
Yes.
What a tremendous vision. Okay, so one last question, and then we'll close it out. As the executive director, you find yourself in, with the exception of the board, I suppose, at the top of the pole when it comes to growing veterans. How do you foster the leaders that are a part of the organization under you? How do you build them up?
By breaking that down. I try to put us all on an even playing field because we are all parts that equal the whole. If you take one of those parts out, we can't function. And so that's what I try to reiterate to everyone on the team is that we all are playing a critical role. It's just a different role, and we can't function without each other.
It's a great way to frame it. Well, Cody, where can people learn more about growing veterans, or better yet, get involved?
So you can learn about us through our website, growingveterans.org, or you can search for us on Facebook or Instagram. Just search in Growing Veterans and you'll find us there. And our physical location is 6458 Martin Place, and that's in Linden, Washington. We're just off the guide, and we can't wait to have you out.
Brilliant. Well, Cody, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Cole.
All right. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed this episode as much as I have. This is the last time we're going to have growing veterans around for now, but who knows? Maybe we'll see something in the future.
Thank you so much.
Well, Hope you guys take care. I'll see you in the next one. All right. See you later, guys. Bye.